So they're feeding off the energy of you inspiring people. Like this is influence, right? Like the influence is not, there's no shortage of influence. There's no shortage of like that energy that happens when you're in the vortex with somebody who's really fired up about something. You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 443. Today, you've got another opportunity to eavesdrop in on a live coaching session and uncover why your message might not be reaching the masses. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Welcome back, amplifiers. It's Melanie Benson, your host, authority amplifier to expert-based entrepreneurs. And today, I've got an amazing human I'm going to share with you. And she's in the hot seat. She's taking advantage of an on-air coaching session where we monetize your visibility strategy. And I love doing these hot seats because, first of all, I've been hearing from so many of our listeners that you are getting value out of these episodes. So yay, that's my intention. And if you're in a space where you'd really like to get an on-air coaching session, maybe you want to test drive my coaching, or you would like some visibility and a little coaching in the process, then you have an opportunity to take advantage of my 24 plus years of experience on your business with either a messaging audit. We could brainstorm your monetization or collaboration strategy and uncover your fastest path to more premium clients ready to say yes. I will drop the link in the show notes for how to apply. And I'd love to do one with you if it's lighting a spark for you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back, amplifiers. I am so thrilled. I'm doing a little happy dance over here because I have an extraordinary human being joining me for another episode of On Air Coaching. Now, let me introduce you to my soul sister and dear friend, Cathy Domoney. Cathy, welcome to Amplify Your Success.
I love hanging out with all my friends. This is so cool. I've been so excited about it. Thank you for having
Oh,
me.
good. I'm so glad. So Cathy and I have known each other for a while through an association we're both involved in. And, there are just some people that you just energetically like get them, like you just get who they are. And this is something that Cathy and I both have. And we were talking about it. And one of the unique things that comes up for a lot of people is energetically people get us, but when we go to the words don't really, come out the same way. So, Cathy, I think that's what we're going to dig into today to support you in this on-air coaching session. I like to start with just in a sentence or two, can you introduce yourself, where you live in the world, and what your expertise is?
Certainly. So I am a trauma practitioner. And so I work with high-level executives, professionals, self-made entrepreneurs who have some kind of a block. So I work with big T trauma, little t trauma in my private practice. I live in Adelaide, Australia. You can hear that I was originally English, so this isn't my birth country, but it's definitely home now. And I'm the founder of the Backyard Peace Project, which is a brand new passion project that's running alongside my personal business.
Hmm. I love it. I love the sound of that, especially in the United States right now, right? I think it's really helpful if we start with setting an intention. And the intention is, first of all, let's go big. 6 months from now, we've solved something today, we've clarified something today that 6 months from now is going to make a huge difference to your business. What is different 6 months from now?
6 months from now, the membership is growing organically, beautifully, in big numbers, because we really want to come together and join these beautiful, heart-centered humans together to do this bigger mission of building bridges between us and looking for those threads of commonality and those daily acts of kindness, because we need to bring it back to us. Like, we really need to bring it together and find that that piece that connects us. And so I want my membership to be thriving, because the more members we have, the more good we can do in the world. So I'm very, very excited about that. All the projects and the ideas. I'm a macro thinker. So I've got all of these, like my 40-year plan. I know what it's going to look like. And so I'm very keen to get started. So that would look amazing
Mm.
to me.
And if there's one thing we could clarify, solve, activate today in our time together to help achieve that 6 month goal, what would it be?
There's a disconnect between my vision and the way I'm communicating it.
Mm.
Now, I've always worked in my private practice. I've done some speaking, I've done some group work, all those sorts of things, but I've been lazy with marketing because I've always worked off referrals. So I've never really had to market, which has been great in one way. But now that I'm launching this big project, these are the skills that I'm lacking because I've never had to have them before. So I'm trying to communicate with people who are intricately involved with the organization, and they're still coming to me going, I don't really get it. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, so I've tried all these different ways of trying to get what's in my head and my heart through to the words to try and share the message and make it really clear for people who are coming in. And I'm not hitting the mark. So yeah,
Mm.
this is why my soul sister jumped in and said, I'm going to help you with that. So I'm very grateful to be here.
Oh, I'm glad. It's very interesting that you mentioned I've relied on referrals because I think that's something that a lot of people relate to. It's like, hey, in my business, when I get referrals, like everything's great, but when the referrals aren't there or somebody doesn't already kind of have a sense of what I do, I can't like explain it. Like I hear this a lot, and I think it's pretty common. So when you try to communicate to somebody this vision, what is the specific feedback you're hearing?
I do feel that there's an element of they understand, believe in, and want to be part of the vision, but they're
Mhm.
also kind of saying, what's in it for me? I don't understand what the subscription is. I don't understand what the membership
Mhm.
is. Why should I step into this? And
Okay.
that's the piece that I'm really sort of like, oh, okay. So I've made it like I put everything into it, like my heart, my soul. The content is amazing. I really want everybody that comes in to feel supportive and seen and nourished and all of these amazing things. But I'm not really communicating the value of being part of this community. That's where
Mm.
I'm disconnected, and I
Yeah.
really don't want to be, because it's all passion and heart and love. But I know that that's my block.
So would it be fair to say that when you imagine what's possible, you have the feeling state of like clarity. It's like it's perfectly clear to you what's possible, but then trying to put it into words, that clarity kind of maybe diminishes when you're trying to explain the value of being there.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Again, super common. So what's coming up for me is that this is a movement, and the movement has energy because everybody understands the value of backyard peace. Like that part makes sense. When you're explaining what is it the ambassadors or is it the participants that are kind of disconnecting or both?
Well, the ambassadors I've all spoken to, because they've been handpicked. So they
Right.
understand intricately the project, the vision, the plan, and they are all jumped in immediately. They were like totally
Okay.
connected with it. It was so good. The energy inside is amazing. The integrity, the vision, the vibration. But even the ambassadors who've got this really intimate knowledge of what we're doing on the inside, I haven't given them the words to be able to describe it to somebody else.
Hmm. Yes. So they're basically feeding off your energy
Mm-hmm.
and saying yes to the energy of you as the leader of this vision, of this mission.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call it a movement. Does it feel fair
Mm-hmm.
to call this a movement? Because I really feel
100%.
like this is a movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're feeding off the energy of you inspiring people. Like this is influence, right? Like the influence is not, there's no shortage of influence. No shortage of like that energy that happens when you're in the vortex with somebody who's really fired up about something. What we need to do is articulate what is the like who's supposed to be in the community and why are they there? So tell me what, like I'm thinking of joining a community. Tell me in your own words, What is it that you think it's about?
It's about people who are fed up with the status quo.
Hmm.
It's about people who are fed up with being fed negativity constantly. Um, it's people who want to disrupt the divide and rule tactics that are being used against all of us right now, wherever we are in the
Hmm.
world. And people who believe that we are powerful beings, we are connected. Most people in the world are good. I fundamentally believe that. But we've been taught to be, what's the word I'm looking for? We're taught to be suspicious of the differences between us.
Mm.
And this is a real opportunity to come together and definitely connect with like-minded people, but also have the opportunity to develop some more connection and understanding between us and people who are not like-minded. And then another layer to that is um, to come in and feel like I know there's more meant for me personally as well. I want more from the world, but there's more meant for me. I actually, I've got the awareness, but I don't know what it is specifically, and I don't know where to begin looking. And so they can come in and experience the genius of all these different ambassadors and start feeling into this unique personal journey of growth and healing.
Okay. I mean, that's compelling. Here's where I'm getting curious. So I don't think energetically the message has a problem. I wonder if possibly what's happening is they're like, okay, yeah, I want that. But then when you start to help them understand how that happens, is that where it starts to break down a little bit, maybe? What are
I
the
don't
specific
think,
ways that they get that outcome?
yeah, I don't think there's solid enough communication
Hmm.
that's compelling people to go, I'm going to step forward and do this. Like,
Okay.
this is some place I need to be.
Okay, let's go a little bit deeper because I think I'm starting to see where the opportunity is here. Um, I think you know how you want what you want to have happen on a macro level. On a
Mm.
micro level, do you have clarity what this community is supposed to deliver in terms of specific like promises or specific outcomes somebody could count on, or specific, not outcomes, but specific steps they might take in the community to achieve that outcome with you?
Mm-hmm. And so I have thought about this, and I've come up with like four pillars. And the first
Okay.
pillar is the journey of self. So for us in the Backyard Peace Project, we believe that world peace begins in our own backyards, which begins with inner peace of us. And
Hmm.
obviously my work is in trauma, right? So this is the work that I do with folks, is to get them to a place of inner peace.
Hmm.
So the first pillar is inner peace. The second pillar is peace within your families, then peace within our communities, and then obviously that ripples out to the world. And we do this through connection with heart-centered people who are energetically compatible with us. I'm not going to say like-minded, because the whole
Hmm.
point of the community is bring lots of different people together. A very personal journey of self-discovery through the genius of the ambassadors. And then as the membership grows, we can do little micro events and initiatives, and then bigger events, and really start generating that energy throughout the world where we feel like we're actually making a difference and an impact.
Okay. I mean, this is compelling. Okay, let me step back out again into kind of more the bigger picture. Do you believe you're having the right conversations with the right people who might join the community?
Ambassadors, yes, but I haven't jumped on calls bringing members in. And so that's
Okay.
why my written word is so important, and why
Mm.
it's not currently generating the magic I know that it can.
Okay. All right. Here's where I think this opportunity is. I think you need some kind of a framework for what this, because so it's a community-based movement,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what I'm understanding is this is a membership style community. So there's
Mm-hmm.
community, but there's also learning from the ambassadors. And so when your ambassadors are like, so how do I communicate this? You need like a kind of a, what's it called? Like a like the movement creed or something like that, the community creed. We stand for this. We get there. Here's our framework of how we get there. And what your people can get, or what the way we're going to help them integrate these pillars is through um, sessions with the ambassadors. Like they get access to this entire learning library that solves these problems or helps people integrate these principles. They're going to get community events, right? Like the actual features of what it is. So it
Mm.
feels like you're really close, but it's about how it's organized so that when somebody says, "Hey, I'm an ambassador for this program," they're like, "Well, what is that?" You're like, "We are the Backyard Peace Project, and we believe that people should have the ability to have peace not only in their backyard, but also help become a ripple maker of peace throughout the worlds that they are involved in." And we do that through community and integrating the pillars of peace or the backyard
Mm.
peace. Does that start to sound like it's encapsulating what you believe is true?
I do. And I feel like I've attempted to do that, but I feel
Mhm.
like when I put it into words, the soul goes out. And so
So
it's
are you
very
trying?
academic when I'm writing it down. It's very academic. And so people aren't getting the
Uh,
feeling of it when I'm writing it down. So they're not getting the energy, the vibration, the heart of it when I'm
mhm.
transferring it into the written word.
So why don't you make a video of
Mm.
you speaking to it, what your vision is, and what you're calling people forth into the community, and then let them share the video or transcribe the video so that you're capturing your words, right? You're capturing the
Yeah.
energy of who you are and what this is about.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. I just need to transfer, like, what if I'm in front of somebody, I
Hmm.
activate them 100%. Like we're
So you
we're in
need to be
it, we're
interviewed.
there. I need to be, yeah, I need that energy to transfer through for
Hmm.
sure.
So are you more collaborative because when you're engaged with somebody, then it comes
Yeah.
out? Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would suggest then is that you get one of the ambassadors who know you the best and really are integrated into this with you to um, ask you a question and get into the conversation and then boom, record
Mm.
and pin it so that you're capturing you, right? Because I think you have to activate and then you can speak
Mm.
because it'll
Yeah.
like all be there and it'll be fresh, right?
Hmm. Yeah. And I have a speech coach over here that I've been working with for a few years, and he said I'm the worst client he's ever had. And I'm like, how dare you? Don't you know who I am? And we just have a giggle. And he said, when you speak naturally, he said, you're so good. Like
Mm.
I'm hooked in. You give the examples, you do this. He said, every time he tried to put structure around me, I was so bland. I was so boring because I was so worried about the structure. So I think my strength is channeling. It's being in
Mhm.
the moment, it's being in the vibration, and then I can really go for
Yeah.
it. But anything with structure, and I think this is where I've been disconnected from my written messaging, is because I feel that there's structure, and I've lost the whole vibration and heart and soul when I try to create copy.
Hmm. Well, there's a couple thoughts I have around that. First of all, this may be a really powerful practice, and I know you have your own ways of doing things, but what if when you go to try and move your message out of your heart and your soul and into the written word, you actually um, get connected to source
Mm.
and you activate your guides. And what if, and again, this is going to be a little woo, but like, what if we activate your guides of words
Mm.
and we invite them to help you bring through the words that are meant to be experienced through the written side of things? So
Yeah,
that's an
totally.
idea. And then secondly, and this is something I had to learn. This is something I had to personally integrate because when I am thinking, what do people need to hear? Guess what? I'm locked up in this stiff, like brain energy that's not very natural. It's not very like accessible. There's no like rapport and connection there. But I also now know that if I want to pull my best stuff out, like I have to get into conversation and then drop into writing.
Mm,
So, and the third way I do this, and I think you probably already know how to do this, but we'll just bring it into the conversation, is I literally go into my mind and I remember a conversation that I've had with somebody who has the problem or has the desire, and I get myself back in my timeline with that conversation and I talk to them and then I write. So I don't know if
mm.
that gives you some ideas, but it feels like,
My head just went, I've just had a million thoughts rush through my head when you said that,
okay,
of all of the conversations that I've had. So that makes perfect sense.
yeah, I believe this is a new mastery level. Like you're evolving how you learn to articulate your message, right? Because
Mm,
if you're going to hold the space for this kind of global impact, one of the things you're going to get to master is how do you access the soul language and get
mm.
out of your head when it's time to bring it forward, right?
Yeah,
Now, I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you may have an ambassador who becomes a copywriter for you. That might help. But I think that, I mean, do you use ChatGPT or Claude or anything ever for helping you
Sometimes to organize
shape
my
it?
ideas,
Yeah.
and then go in and sort of rewrite it connected to it. Yeah, sometimes I do just to organize because I'm a very sort of 11 to 9 million tabs open at once person. So
Yes.
sometimes I just need some structure and then I can move on from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, a fun exercise might be, um, this is my mission, or this is my vision. This is how my pillars. This is how we get there. um, Act as my marketing manager and write a community creed that we could use to communicate to potential community members why this is a game-changing community and what's in it for them if they join, and
Mm,
see what emerges through your organization of those thoughts.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So what I think is happening is you actually have your message. I think you're actually really clear. I think you have a filtering system that's um like you're somehow, did you, can we get a little bit private and like kind of go deeper into the like maybe the block? Because what was just coming through for me is that perhaps in your own genius and in your own work, there was a trauma at some point or a piece of feedback that felt really harsh to you that you can't articulate things well, or like do you have some kind of trauma around sharing your heartfelt message with the world?
Not in my professional life, but certainly in my personal history, yes.
Okay, well, you know they're totally integrated when you do the work you do in the world, right?
Mm, mm,
So I know you have your own trauma process and you probably have support systems around this. What might be really powerful is to go into that with the awareness that it's time for you to become aware of the part of you that's holding on to this belief that you're not good at this,
mm,
and allow that part of you to be released. And, you know, it probably kept you safe for many, many years and
mm,
probably had a job that it was really good at doing. But now that job is no longer required from that part of you. And it might be okay to allow it to have a new job, which is to shepherd in this work in the world.
mm. Yeah,
But
beautiful.
I think there's a little energetic block for you that's just part of an old wound somewhere.
Mm.
Does that
Yeah, no,
sound
it's
possible?
confirmation for me because I actually had a session this morning because I did feel like there's something there and I need to just dig into what that is. So that's really nice confirmation from you that I'm on the right track.
Yeah, I don't normally go there in the on-air coaching, but it felt like that was just like I was getting this really loud, clear message. We have to
Yeah.
talk about like the part of you that's maybe holding on to this belief or this story, or there's a block there that's just like, we tend to fragment ourselves when we're in trauma or we have something really painful happening, and we need to integrate it now because it's no longer necessary for you to be safe to separate those parts of yourself.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And look, we've got the relationship, we can have that conversation, so it's all fine.
Yes, now we're going to share it with everyone.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm pretty open.
Right. But what's beautiful is when we do trauma work and we hold space for people to step into peace at this level, it is really, really, really valuable for us to go back in and go, okay, what part of me hasn't cleared the thing that's actually acting like a barrier rather than allowing that bridge to be built?
Mm.
So with the words, with, getting the language down and like really just clarifying those pieces, here's what I'm seeing. Um, Clearing those energy blocks, inviting in the part of you that does have absolute clarity. And there's a part of you that already is very good at communicating it,
Mm.
and channeling that when it comes time to write,
Mm.
while just really digging deeper into, if I'm a community member and I'm integrating these pillars and I have access to this, what is it that I will be better at? What will I have that'll be different? What will I be able to do out in the world that allows me to fulfill my mission?
Yeah,
Okay,
got
so
it.
there's that feature
Mm.
side, and then there's the benefit side. The benefit has to be really well communicated. And then last, like I want to really support you in um the word clarifying and upleveling was trying to come out at the same time, but it's like integrating the value of community that is sometimes intangible and like a soft thing, as we call it in marketing, like it's a soft outcome. But what I know right now is people buy something, they invest in something because they think they want the solution. They think they want this thing, but they stay because the community enriches their soul and gives them a sense of something so powerful that they cannot access in their day-to-day lives.
Mm.
So, is this lining up for you in terms of what you know to be
Yeah.
true?
Oh, totally. And one of the biggest pieces for me that I want to provide in the community is that sense of belonging.
Yes.
I belong here. These are my people.
Yes. And how it's going to activate in them what they're called to do in the world, to be a ripple maker of peace.
Mm.
And that when we try to make these ripples on our own, the ripples are like, I mean, because I do ripple makers, right? And it's like this is one of my things that I work with. Is like when we try to make ripples all on our own, we're like a faucet that drips tiny
Mhm.
little drops of water. And we're
Yeah.
like, I want a little more water flowing here, right? But that is activated, and you've just literally you've claimed this right here in this conversation that when you are in conversation, when you are in community, when you are co-creating, that those little drips become like a steady stream of water. And like that is what you are creating for people, is like the ability to make waves, to make ripples, because they're activating with other people that get them.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And it's magical when that happens.
Hmm. So that might be some of the language right there that will help sell this, is like, okay, yes, you're going to learn the pillars. Yes, you're going to have access to knowledge and skill mastery and really integrating these different pillars into your business and your life. But you also have community, and you have
Mm.
community with people who don't just get you, but they will actually become another kind of metaphor is this idea of a rising tide.
Mm.
So like
Beautiful.
that's what you're activating.
Mm.
So is this feeling like you got clarity?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it has crystallized for me the pieces that I was 95% there, but that 5% wasn't dropping in for me.
Hmm, good. So what do you feel like is the aha then? What's the takeaway?
Well, I'm a connector. So my whole
Yes.
thing is loving and connecting. And so for me to be having a conversation feels so much more deep and rich and delicious than just the blandness of me monologuing. Nobody wants to hear me monologue. So the
Okay.
idea of being able to connect and drop that conversation through feels exciting to me.
And there's a point when you're going to access the source of who you are and what this is about, and you're going to just be able to download it, and you won't need to be activated with anyone else.
Mm,
So I don't buy that people don't want to hear your monologue per se. What people want is they want to be in Cathy's energy. They want to be in the sparkle. They want to be in the magic. And when you can share that, when your whole energetic being is lit up by what you're saying, you can say it like to a video camera or you can do the
mm,
dance with somebody else and it's going to be the same.
yeah.
Does that feel possible for you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If I felt like I was talking to somebody, I think I could run with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And the mastery is you don't even need somebody. That's
Yeah.
the evolution that
Yeah.
I see
Yeah. Yeah.
unfolding for you.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cathy, I think this project is so extraordinary. And I know people who are listening in, as they hear you kind of drop into the magic about this community and what's possible, they're going to want to know how to find it. Where can somebody find out more about you and the Backyard Peace Project?
So if you go to cathydomoney.com, everything is there for you. So it's Cathy, CATHY money, Domoney, DO money. So
Do money.
easy.
Do
Do
money.
money. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
You know I'm going to have to call you that now.
Yeah. I answer to most things these days.
Yes. Like sparkle pants. Okay. I know. You know I had to drop that in there. Okay. And what's your favorite social media platform that somebody might reach out to you on?
Facebook, I'm generally on.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah.
Cathy, thank you for courageously stepping into the hot seat today and allowing people to experience your magic and your amazing vision, but also just to get coached through this. And as you're listening in, you know, this is probably some gems for you. And I'd love to hear what was the aha. Feel free to drop into my DMs or put a comment wherever you're listening to this and let Cathy and I know like what the big aha was for you today. Cathy, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. We're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.